fully on-chain game, Block Stranding, is live with an airdrop campaign and a playable demo. Is this a new era of gaming freedom or a major step back in game quality? We explore this and more. Welcome to Tokenized 360. Block Stranding is the first multiplayer real-time RPG on the blockchain. It is built on Solana with a very low latency tech stack. Caveat, I am not a game dev, so I don't know some of the intricacies of what is possible and what is not, but this game is definitely pushing that forward in and of itself, and what is possible and not might change in the future anyway. In this video, we are going through the gameplay features, economic models of different games, and how it affects you, finishing off with their airdrop campaign. This is just a slice of gameplay that is meant to demonstrate the capabilities. It is running on chain. You do have to pay just a little bit of Solana to play it, and it'll deduct some of that to set up your character. I haven't noticed any funds being taken for gas or anything like that, and it is all registered on the blockchain. I'm not certain if it has separate servers that aren't on the blockchain or not. I suspect it might, but hopefully in the future we can have truly on-chain games. The gameplay is super simple. WSAD or just tap on your phone. For mobile, it's coming out on the Solana mobile gaming device that is available for pre-order, and ship date should be in October. They are optimizing it for mobile gaming for reasons of adoption and accessibility. Hit your skills button and upgrade skills. My favorite to upgrade are the orb that is following you around. It can get crazy good damage and more than deal with all the monsters coming at you without you even having to stop most of the time. That's what I would upgrade first, as well as a little bit of health, just so that if you are a little careless and get hit once, they're not going to one-shot you. They are coming out with a little collaboration, some different gameplay and look and feel, as well as chest there, avatar. Again, this is just the basic raw demo to demonstrate the tech, and on top of that they can add features. In order to truly understand what's going on with the gaming industry, why devs make some of the decisions they make, and why gamers get grumpy from time to time, we're going to look at some different economic models over the years, how it felt. I have tried out most of them as a gamer, watching projects for the last 4 years in the crypto space, seeing some of the dev side, some of the frustration, some of the VC side. Back when I was first playing games, there were basically two types of games. This actually falls under one of those, strangely enough. There were games designed to test tech. The first PCs that were networked together with the network connections, strength, and abilities were tested with their very first multiplayer PC game called Snipes. The gameplay today would be a very, very basic top-down shooter on a mobile device, not even pixelated, like lower than pixelated. These were, of course, free to play because they were just a testing engine. The other main type back then was you actually owned the console, you owned the cartridge, you could trade them freely with anybody, and it was fun to do so. They became collector's items that are still worth quite a bit of value today, especially the rarer and more popular ones. It worked decently well. If you were poor, you might not get the latest game. You might have to wait a while until the price came down, or just save up that hard-earned cash. Then, as PCs started having more and more multiplayer capabilities, the subscription-based model came out where you had to pay per month to play the game. This worked out okay. It was a bit of a pain to have that monthly payment go out all the time, and you may or may not get your money's worth, as it encouraged you to stay with the same game for longer than you normally would, just because you're invested in it financially, which I think lowered the experience, because you're like, oh, I'm paying for this thing, I better use it, versus, well, I get to explore this world and it's mine. During these times, there were also, of course, game demos designed to give you a taste of the fun things to come in the game, and if you were poor, it was a very good way to get entertainment by just playing a bunch of different demos. It was fun. It was actually kind of awesome. Again, history has a funny way of repeating itself. We are again in an era where there is lots of free stuff out there to play, but often it's half-baked or just a taste of the big fun you can have behind a paywall. That was before the dark times, before the Empire. Free-to-play hit the scene. Biggest one to make a splash early on was Clash of Clans. There are tons of different free-to-play models out there, from freemium, where it's free to play the basic version, but then you have premium perks or areas that you could explore or level caps. Basically an extended demo. There is the gacha system, which is chest opening for perks in the game, basically pay to progress, highly random in what you get, easy to spend a lot of money on trying to get what you want. Pay to win, not really my favorite. There's ad to play. If you want to play the game, you watch an ad, and of course a premium perk to just pay to get rid of all the ads. These were primarily mobile games, but these economic models have saturated through a ton of different genres of games. Then blockchain came around, and we have a whole host of new monetization schemes, some of which are good, some of which aren't so good. There's the pay to earn model, where you pay for some NFT or token that unlocks earning features in the game. When these are small, we call them Ponzi's. When they're bigger, we just say, well, this is what you have to do to enter. It just depends on how many people are coming into the ecosystem versus going, how long it takes you to make return on investment. Usually these are coupled with a kind of pay to play aspect, like you need these things to actually play the game, though sometimes the game itself is fully free to play and paying for the NFTs merely unlocks the earning potential. This is kind of a good deal for the players that just want to play a game for the sake of the fun of the game, but of course it is highly risky for the players who actually want to invest. In a crypto bear market, especially an extended crypto gaming bear market, it gets people really grumpy when their return on investment doesn't work out. Free to earn models are out there, though they usually have to do with an airdrop or a token. Usually you have to get in pretty early to actually make significant earnings on it, or be in a raging bull market where people are throwing money in at everything. Then we come to risk to earn. Some might call it gambling, where you pay to play. These can work for a time, but usually the player base steadily declines over time as people figure out that they're the ones losing money instead of the ones getting money, and usually that's fewer and fewer people who are actually making money as it pools towards the best players. Another monetization method is the Kickstarter method. Crypto has its own Kickstarter mechanisms that this is what you pay, this is what we're going to develop. There are risks with this and the developer not following through, but when it works out, it can usually be a pretty good deal, as the people funding the game are funding it in order to get special perks and developments in the game, and they really want the game to exist for the fun of it. Quick note on esports. Some games are funded through esports, usually combined with advertising. And a monetization method I think is one of the more likely ones to succeed long term is collect to earn. The idea is you have NFTs or something you can get in game that collectors will really want. Collectors often don't care as much about price if they're just in love with whatever they're collecting and they want it. They have been wanting it for years. They finally have the money to get it, and they're going for it. Challenges devs face and challenges gamers face. Devs face three main challenges in my opinion. Server costs, how to make recurring revenue so they can keep developing games and not have to switch industries and get a different job if the money dries up, and market saturation. Challenges for gamers include rug pulls, costs or caps on earning, depending on what you're after, and low quality experiences. I want to go through some solutions to each of these. Note, these are just some of my ideas. I am not a dev, but I do know a few and have had conversations with many of them. Server costs. It would be amazing if blockchains could host the server role, and that way your server costs go to the blockchain itself. You could maybe have a staking loop where players, devs, or advertisers put up Solana or ETH or ADA as staking resources. My theory is that if you had enough staked at minimum per player that it's generating as much revenue as you're collecting in fees, then you could have a zero sum where the output is the gameplay itself. This could be in combination with any of the monetization schemes that I just talked about, and could be complemented with an NFT trading revenue system where the gameplay mining consists of seasonal NFTs that come out every once in a while that are limited, that you can find in the game. The trading of those, very low percentage, helps to fund the devs and the continuance of the game. Having these systems be elastic would ensure that the player pool playing the game matches with the pools of capital to keep it going. Market saturation, meaning there are just too many games out there for all of them to get played and money to be spent on. I don't really have that great of solutions, simply that if you had these monetization schemes in place and nobody's playing something, maybe it just dies with the last player or gets put into stasis and maybe a group of players comes and resurrects it sometime. Stasis would be my preferred. That way collectors don't lose out on their NFTs if it just vanishes. And just an encouragement to the devs to just focus on making stuff that is unique and quality. There might be easier ways of making a ton of money than making video games. It's a very low likelihood for a video game to actually make tons of money, though we'll see how this bull run plays out. The survivors will probably do very, very well, in my opinion. Still, things that are innovative, quality, and or unique will definitely have an advantage in a bull run. For the persistence of a game, somebody has to pay for the costs at some point. The different entities that may be interested in this are the collectors, the advertisers, gamblers, players, or devs. Obviously, some of these are more sustainable than others. Rug pulls, and I don't just mean Web 3. I have been rug pulled in Web 2 plenty of time. One of my favorite mobile games, it's a Star Wars shooter, is pulling down its servers soon. And also just made all the skins that you had to buy or earn before just free to wear. Totally and completely wrecked their player base. Now the player base obviously wasn't big enough or spending enough to make it worth their while. Mainly skin-based rev. They were having so many skins that it lost its appeal a little bit for collecting. Having a more sustainable and elastic systems would help a ton. Rug pulls, business failures, sometimes there's a blurry line in between, but a lot of what we think of as rug pulls in Web3 are business failures. Not to say that there aren't plenty of actual rug pulls that go on. Devs taking money and running is not cool. Hopefully Block Stranding and games like it can push our industry forward to a brighter future where devs get paid, gamers can play games of various economic models that aren't predatory. The Airdrop campaign is happening right now. Go to the Earn tab. It'll open up a new website. This is Season 1. It has to do with yaps. If you're familiar with the yap campaign, basically posting on X with your X account connected and using referral links to climb the leaderboard and earn some Strand tokens. Season 2 is supposed to be happening within the week, but they are relatively shy about updating some things. Also, if you're a fan of Gate, they are doing a 10K part of their airdrop, so you can check that out if you're super duper interested there. Season 2 of the airdrop campaign should be happening within the week. Not sure if they're delaying it or not, but it has to do with in-game rewards. So probably classic play to earn, which will be super exciting. There is not a lot of info, and that is one of my main critiques about Block Stranding. Granted, they are probably a very small dev team. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just one or two people combining a lot of tech stacks together to make this thing. Simple gameplay of a little bit of entertainment value, probably much more entertaining as they add features. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this style of content, if you want more or less of it. Hope you enjoyed. I'm Freelander, and as always, happy hunting.